Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining me tonight. My name is Lemuel. I am the host of this Unpacking episode 18, I believe. Episode 18, Unpacking. We're unpacking thoughts, ideas, concepts, and topics or any type of interest that I hear about or myself I'm interested in. And one of the things that I've been interested in lately, in fact, I shouldn't say lately, but it's really just been kind of going into my heart, into my mind, and I'm beginning to make moves to hopefully advance in this area is in real estate. I've always wanted and been interested in real estate investing. And so, unlike a lot of the unpacking episodes that I've done, episodes 1 and 17, it's been about social issues and personal issues and some weights and burdens and things like that. But this season of unpacking, I wanted to go and bring in a little bit more of my interest, bringing in a little bit more of some of the things that I think some of us are wanting to know, and business and other areas of life. And so tonight, I have a special unpacking episode, and I just met this gentleman. In fact, we don't even really know anything about each other. I'm about to go and ask exactly what's up. So this is going to be fresh. You guys are going to hear the very thing that you will hear, I would hear the very first time. So I'm going to ask him questions that has been in my mind, my heart, and things that I've heard, and hopefully we'll get some answers and give us a little bit of insight as we unpack real estate investing tonight with my guest. So before I bring him on, I'm going to put on my regular ministry intro. And while I'm doing that, share this feed with people that you know, put it on your timeline, tag somebody, do a watch party. I think it's going to be very interesting tonight. So looking forward to seeing you in 30 seconds. Welcome again. Good evening, everybody. Again, this is Lemuel, your host for the Unpacking, where we unpack thoughts, concepts, ideas, and perspectives. And tonight, y'all, I'm so pumped and excited to have. I'm hoping to be a good friend of mine in the next couple of weeks, and
Absolutely.
maybe for a lifetime. I'd like to do some business with this gentleman. We actually met each other at a Facebook group. He had posted some house that he was selling here in Staten Island, and I just reached out to him because I'm thinking about real estate investing, and I figured let me go hit him up. And he hit me up, and I asked him. I said, "Would you mind having the conversation I'd like to have with you live?" And he's like, "Sure, why not?" So everybody, welcome Laurence. Laurence, welcome. Am I saying your name correct?
Yes, Laurence, correct. Hey guys,
Excellent.
good evening. Laurence Priore, owner of New Jersey Wholesalers here. Happy to be aboard and with Lemuel and answer any questions that I can regarding real estate, wholesaling, and what have you. So thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for joining me, man. And like I said in my intro, this is something that you and I did not consider until maybe about a couple of hours ago.
Exactly.
And this is our first time to really converse, correct? In fact, the only conversations we've had was private messaging and text, right?
That's correct. That's
Now,
correct.
why would you respond to somebody like me, crazy me, asking you to come on live to talk about real estate investing and obviously your particular expertise in this field, wholesaling?
Because I see people post on Facebook, different blogs and whatnot, wanting help. Asking, I'm new, I'm a newbie, how do I get into wholesaling? How do I get into real estate? So hopefully enough people can join this and, get some feedback and I can be of some assistance with that from the 3 years I've been doing it, it seems like just started yesterday, but 3 years, and it's been a great ride. I plan on retiring doing this, wholesaling and investing, definitely with real estate. So you know, basically the I wasn't overwhelmed, but like I said on Facebook, people were actually asking for you know advice. How do I get started? Or what do I have to do? What's my first steps? And people usually say, "Oh, go look at YouTube." That's their answer. But hopefully, like I said, I could be of some education tonight.
Well, you said that you've been doing this for 3 years. Number one, let's ask how you got involved. Or firstly, can I ask you, can you unpack with me what exactly is wholesaling in real estate?
So wholesaling is the opposite of what a real estate. Real estate agents want to get the highest price, and wholesalers want to get not necessarily the lowest price, but a price that works for everybody: the investor, the homeowner, right, and the wholesaler themselves. So the whole ordeal is basically looking for somebody who's in a distressed situation. Maybe they're, unfortunate situation where their sibling has died, or something along those lines, or they're a tired landlord. In other words, they want to retire, so they don't want to invest in in their real estate anymore. So they're looking to sell their property, multifamily or single family. Um, yeah, so it's been good to me, and like I said, if I can help in anybody in any way, even just one person, I'm grateful. So
I mean, when I think of wholesaling, is it like kind of like Costco? You know how you have the retail versus wholesale, where it's
yeah,
like the retail price is maybe 20%, 30% markup versus the wholesale price would be, what the company just wants to make out of it. So you
right.
buy it. Let's say I buy something from Costco, like a paper towel at $2, let's say, and I resell it. I resell it for $3 or $4. You're
Correct.
the guy that sells the paper towel to me at $2,
Well,
and
that's
then
the
I
thing.
come around and I'll do whatever it is with the paper towel and resell it at a higher price. Is that
Right.
correct?
Well, somewhat, yeah, because I'm not necessarily purchasing the property, right?
Oh, okay.
I'm just getting a contract in place, and with the very important words and or assigns, which means I can assign this contract to one of my investors who, I have at least 40 or 50 on my phone right now. New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, pretty much tri-state. And what they do is they look at the contract, they run the comps and on the house or the market analysis. Um, and I typically go, there's a certain algorithm that people use. It's what you want to get 30% off market, or the ARV, which is called the after repair value, right? So after you fix it up, the house, what is it worth? So if it's worth $500,000 after it's all fixed up, you want to take 30% off of that number, right? Which is I can't do the math right now, but 30 say 30, it's basically an whole algorithm that we have to use. 30% off the ARV, they call it, and then subtract the rehab cost, which has to be tallied up by a contractor or yourself if you're savvy. For me, I've been doing construction for 15 years, so I can do the rehab cost and the repair cost by myself, which saves some time and effort. Also, after that, what you want to do is subtract your fee. So if it's a larger property, six, seven, 800,000 up to a million, you can put up to $30,000 to $50,000 wholesale fee on it, right? So, and that's only if it works with the algorithm that you have. In other words, if it's a $500,000 property, you take 30% off, right? Subtract your rehab cost, say it's 50,000, and then subtract your fee, which is 10, 50, could be 100, could be $1 million. If it works for the investor, your wholesale fee could be any price that makes sense, right?
So you say you've been doing this for 3 years. How
Right,
did you get involved in wholesaling? I know there's a lot of avenues to do real
right,
estate investing, but as a
right.
wholesaler, how'd you get involved? Why did you choose wholesaling as opposed to a flipper or a buy and hold investor?
So I'm actually working my way up to be a buy and hold investor, believe it or not. Just going to get some capital wholesaling. What I've been doing mainly is the first 2 years, I want to say 2.5 years, believe it or not, that my company has been in business, has been testing the waters, educating myself. I didn't start wholesaling from day one because there's a lot of education behind it. There's a lot of know-how that you have to know how to do. So some people say that's ridiculous, but it took me 2 years to actually get my first deal. And on my first deal, I made $20,000
Well, two
wholesale.
years.
Yeah, I wasn't really working on getting deals in those 2 years. Like I said, I was mainly educating myself, talking to different real estate agents, other real estate investors, other wholesalers, things along those lines. And what that really did was give me a foundation or like an infrastructure. So I had the confidence to go out there and say, I'm ready, you know? And it took me about 3 to 6 months to get my first deal. And it was a $20,000 deal, wholesale fee. It was actually in New Providence, New Jersey. Um, so it's an education, right? It's like anything, like going to school, you have to learn about it. And I had virtual mentors. The first person I heard about it through was a gentleman by the name of Zach Childress. I don't know if anybody knows him, but he's a savvy investor. He introduced me to something called co-wholesaling, which got me interested. Another
What is it again?
co-wholesaling,
Co-hold,
co-whole,
HOLD.
no, co-wholesaling.
Oh, co-hold, wholesaling.
Yeah, so
Okay,
it's co
right,
hyphen wholesaling.
right.
So what that means, what I came to find out later on, is joint venturing, right? Doing a JV, in other words, also known as JV. That means that it's somebody else's deal, but you help them find a buyer for it, and you get compensated for that, right? So I started off doing co-wholesaling or joint venturing because I
So
was,
let's say you and I do
yeah,
this joint venture. I let's say I have the money. I'm gonna buy or I'm the one that's gonna hold the property. I find the property, and you find the buyer. Is that kind of like what
right,
it is?
or vice versa, correct.
Okay.
So that's how I first started. But in my instance, it was basically another person had the deal, and I said, I'll help you find an investor without a doubt. Yeah, I could pay you 2,000 or 2,500 of my fee, or they say put a number on top of it, and then like if they're making 10,000, they said sell it for $2,500 more than what I'm selling it for, and we'll compensate you at the closing. So is that's how I started off. It was co-wholesaling, joint venturing, and then I came into finding a bunch of virtual mentors like Max Maxwell, Alex Youngblood, who else? Jerry Norton. All these guys give like jewels, right? They give you diamonds for, I don't know why they don't charge for it, but they give you a lot of good information, and it's very it's I'm grateful for them because I learned everything that I know today.
So let me ask you something. What got you started 3 years ago? You said you've been in it for 3 years.
Yep.
What got you started, and how has it been for you?
So I got started because of the two words, right? Financial freedom.
Mm.
I know real estate is basically people say, I don't know, I pretty much agree with it from all the data I've read and research that I've done. That real estate is the number one success builder, other than any other trade or job, because um, you figure the first of two expensive things you buy in your lifetime is a car and a house. Obviously, the house is more expensive, and if you're well off and you're wealthy, then you get a boat, a yacht, whatever, a jet, a private plane. But for the average Joe, it's more like a car and a house. So I actually used to sell cars for a bunch of years, so I got that aspect of everything. I know how to get my way around cars, selling wise, value wise, and then what I wanted to do is get my hands on the other most expensive thing that people buy in their lifetime is real estate. So once I get those two things, I feel like sky's the limit. But yeah, so my venture my journey has been pretty good. I mean, I met a lot of great people throughout networking and people who I call my more than acquaintances, like friends. Even though we only met a couple times, some people I never even met, but I'm on the phone with them every day. And then because of the whole pandemic, I'm like, well, we'll meet up and get coffee or lunch one day, and formally meet. But the journey's been great, and I see myself doing this for as long as it takes to be financially free.
So let me ask you something, Lawrence. Do you actually buy the property, or are you like the intermediary? And I'm trying to kind of understand the wholesaling.
Yeah. So the wholesaler is the person in between the buyer and the seller.
So you don't actually purchase the property.
No, but like I said, I'm going to be starting probably beginning of next year, becoming starting investing in property.
So let me ask you a question. Do you actually need money to get started in this wholesaling business?
No,
How much money did it cost you to get started?
word of mouth. That was my dollars. I my first deal was word of mouth, and that goes a long way. Networking goes a long way. Door knocking, driving for dollars, looking at the MLS.
What is driving for dollars? I hear that. I've heard that several times, and I don't quite understand it.
Yeah, so when you drive for dollars, literally, you're getting in your car, you're driving around your neighborhood, and you're looking for vacant houses. You're looking for rundown, like long grass on the front yard, boarded up houses, houses that look like they're in distress, that need repairs, things like that. So, and when you drive for dollars, that means that you have to look when you're driving. You pull over, get the address, right, of a vacant house. Let's say you see us, you see, 4x8 plywood on the windows, and nobody's living in there. So you get the address and you do like what they call skip trace, which means you find a website that can locate a person by just the address and the name. So sometimes just the address, but then you got to search through the names. But most of the time, all the time, basically, it's with a name and an address, right? So once you get through the motions with that, it comes pretty easy. Then it just comes into a sales pitch and a little bit. You have to have some knowledge of the numbers and whatnot too. But the hardest part is finding the properties, right? The investors are everywhere. If you have the right numbers, the investors will flock to you.
So if I or somebody in the audience considers what you're doing, wholesaling,
Right.
what would be the process for them to get started? Obviously, there's a lot of knowledge deficits that they have, and so they have to learn. But what would be your encouragement for them if they wanted to get started?
Never quit, right? Um, I've had so many deals that were so close to closing, and I could have just got discouraged and said, "This is never gonna work," right? But never quit when you are reaching for your goals. You have to stride because it's like a picture that I saw on Instagram or Facebook or somewhere. Right, this guy's in a mine. There's two pictures, two guys with a line in between them, right? And one guy on top is digging towards the diamonds. The other guy on the bottom is digging towards the diamonds, right? In the
Yep.
picture, you see the one guy so close to the diamond, but he put his pick on the shoulder and he's walking the other way. The other guy's like, and I think the caption was like, never give up. the other guy's still hammering away, and then he only needs one more hit, and the diamonds just show up and appear. So you can't give up because you never know what's right around the corner for you. You know. Did that answer your question or no?
Well, it kind of talked about the motivation to do it. I'm just thinking, if I wanted to start, let's say today, what
Right.
would I need to do to begin what you're doing? How many deals have you brokered in the 3 years, if you don't mind me asking?
About two or three only.
Okay.
But now things have been picking up because because I have another job. I do a part time, right? So I'm trying to make real estate my full time job. But right now I'm working on four or five different properties, which are all the numbers are all good. I've been giving them out to investors, so things have been picking up for me. But um, I've done Facebook ads. That's some money you have to put into that. If you can find a guy who doesn't charge too much money, you
Hmm.
could do. You can look at Zillow or Redfin or any other Realtor.com, any of those websites, and dial for sale by owners. I mean, for sale by owner means that they're not with an agent. Obviously, it's a homeowner looking to sell their house by themselves, and they're more negotiable than what an agent would be. Like I said, an agent wants the top dollar, wholesaler wants the bottom dollar, and a for sale by owner is more negotiable than usually with agents, especially in nowadays, because nowadays I've heard people running into the simple fact that you know paying 40, $50,000 over asking price with a realtor. That doesn't happen with for sale by owners. Not that I experienced. But
Have you always been an entrepreneur? Is this something just you kind of just did, or you're just starting out? I know you said you broke about 2 or 3 deals, and that may be little bit for some, but it is a lot of work, a lot of grind. So you need the kind of
right,
spirit and the kind of mindset to really push forward, and that's the spirit of the entrepreneur, correct?
right. The thing is, I wasn't always an entrepreneur, right? Um, I used to be in corporate. I used to be in property casualty insurance. I used to be in construction, which I still am, which is a godsend because it goes hand in hand with real estate, right? You got to fix up a property, you got to sell it. So, but when I first got into, I was in corporate, um, working a 9 to 5, the rat race, and I just saw so many and heard so many YouTube channels and different entrepreneurs saying this is the life. My father was an entrepreneur. Um, you know, he never really worked in corporate for somebody. He always said, "Nobody's going to put a price on my uh, nobody's going to put a price on my head. Nobody's going to say how much I'm worth. I'll make that decision myself." So he was very successful from the start. But it
What did he
takes a
used
lot
to
of work.
do?
He started EDP Painting Company, which is out of East Hanover, which I still run to this day.
Oh wow,
So it's 35 years and running. So
wow.
yeah, I mean, he was the hardest worker that I know. I learned everything from him. He was my first mentor, and probably my best mentor because I learned everything that I knew. Motivation, ambition, um, you know, integrity, quality workmanship, never give up. Everything that a true entrepreneur is made of. He was it. Yes. He passed away though, January 2nd
Oh
this
yeah,
year.
just this year. I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't COVID, thank God, but it was. Thank God, of cancer. He was battling that for a few
Oh
months.
wow.
Yeah.
So let me ask you something. All right. So I we met because I was looking at houses, right? Because
Right.
I'm exploring buy and hold investing.
Right.
And you had posted a property that you are negotiating, the brokering. And how would the process go? Okay, so we're here. I'm calling you, and I'm like, hey Laurence, how are you? This is Lemuel. I'm looking to be a buy and hold investor. What would be my next move in order for me to acquire the property that you are mitigating?
Well, normally, as an investor, they wouldn't contact the wholesaler. Sometimes investors would contact wholesalers, but for the most part, the wholesalers are contacting investors, right? But if an investor were to contact a wholesaler, just they would just have a good rapport with them, a good business relationship, and basically just um, ask them, what houses are you dealing with now? Are you in this location? Because that's where I invest. Every investor has their certain location. Some do it nationwide, some do it globally. Um, but that's basically what an investor, they can get a better deal through a wholesaler than an agent. So that's, and they don't have to pay as much of a fee for a wholesaler as an agent charges.
So I'm here. I'm looking at the property that you
Yeah.
posted. What would be my next move after after you and I like talk? Let's say this is it. This is you, me. I'm thinking. Hey, I'm thinking of purchasing a home to hold. I want to use it really for my mom, but I want to be able to have some investable kind of like house hack. And house hack meaning live in one part of the house and then another part of the house is being rented. What would be my next move? Should I call the homeowner or are you going to do that for me?
I usually, the wholesaler usually deals direct with the homeowner and the investor. They're the middleman in between. So I do all the dirty work, right? I'm the one that says, you know what, homeowner, you're gonna have to come down like 25,000 for him to, in order for him to purchase his house. I know you're in a distressed situation. Maybe he'll come up 5 or 10,000, but it all depends on the situation
Yeah,
because
so
if
let's say I'm looking at the house that you posted and I'm like, Laurence, man, there's a lot more work than I think it looks like. I'd like to update it. It's in the part of Staten Island that's really kind of like in the rural aspect where it's just one bus that's going through it. I'm looking to rent it out. Mom is a little old. I've got to make sure the stairs are good. I've got to make sure the front steps are right.
right,
I'd like to have a rental apartment there, so I've got to fix it up. I'd like to put a different meter on the house, water meter, electric meter, so that I don't have to pay for that. So it looks like I'm gonna spend $100,000, and you as a contractor, what do you tell me first?
right. So as a contractor, I would tell you, you know, I would say,
This is good. This is good because you're a contractor. So I'm gonna be like, Laurence, man, how much are we gonna pay for this setup here? What is the after rehab value here? The rehab is gonna cost me $100,000. You're trying to sell it to me for 400. I need this
right,
down to 280.
yeah, it happens all the time. They say, some people say they put in 100 offers a week, right? And they just see what comes back. Maybe 100 offers a day. Some people, it's like they have certain softwares and algorithms that they use, but if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You go on to the next one. The
Yeah.
numbers are the numbers are the numbers. You can't beat the numbers. In other
So what
words,
would you what would you tell me like if this is a real situation and I tell you, Laurence, man, I'm checking out even just from the pictures. Or and that's a good question. Is your investor allowed to step on the property that you're wholesaling?
yes,
Oh, okay. I could come with you or what
yeah, they come
happens?
with me. They can go in the house, take pictures themselves, look at what has to be done. Absolutely.
And then I could come back and be like, I know you're a contractor. I got my own contractor looking at it. Can I bring him also to take a look at what this house is gonna be worth, or how much is gonna cost me to repair it, and what's my after rehab value is
Yeah,
gonna be, so I can resell it or know exactly what type of mortgage I'm gonna put in this.
absolutely. Because everybody has to do their own due diligence. I might miss something that somebody else doesn't see, or somebody sees. So everybody has to do their own due diligence, especially when they're spending their own money. They have to know what they're getting into.
So I've only bought a house once, so I know it as a not a wholesaler but a retail customer,
Right.
where I have an inspector come in, they tell me what's wrong with the house, they charge whatever it is, I have to pay that inspector, and then I have to go get a mortgage, I have to do all of that stuff. Can an inspector also come, or or somebody that actually inspects the house to tell me exactly how much it costs now and how much it would cost, how much it will be valued after the construction that I would put in there? Can I do
Well,
that?
there's inspectors, there's appraisers, and there's
Right, the
contractors.
appraisers. That's what I mean. If I come in there, can I come in with an appraiser also and see if you're actually giving me the kind of loan to or the value that you're saying it is?
Yeah, you can do that. I mean, normally the appraisers come after the fact that the deal's already on the underway. They'll come in and say, and investors are okay 90% of the time with what the value is because they already have a good deal going. But sometimes it breaks deals. The appraiser. Sometimes the inspectors, the contractors and inspectors are a little bit different because contractors just see what's on the inside, the outside, and inspectors do everything. Like they really nitpick everything.
Yeah,
So
they're gonna throw
if
a
you have a good
camera down the
inspector,
pipe, etc.
yeah, they do everything. Yeah,
Yeah, so I'm looking at it, and you're wanting, let's say, we're not gonna obviously name the price, but let's say it's $400,000 property. The after value, after rehab value, is maybe $500,000, and
right,
I'm gonna have to put in, uh, let's say, $50,000
right.
um, to it. So it's gonna be $450,000 for me. What would that look like for you?
That's not a good deal. I don't recommend you do that deal. uh, but let's say those are the numbers. Um,
Why?
you,
Wait, unpack that for me. Why is it not a good deal? Because I'm paying too much, right?
yeah, you are.
Because the value of the house is only after I come out, I'm only up 30,000, right?
Not even. You got to pay realtor fees. You have to pay closing costs. A $400,000 house, say 5 or 6%. Is already 25,000 dollars.
Yeah,
Well, actually, 4 6. Yeah,
yeah, like
6%.
$24,000. Yeah,
4,000. Yeah. So you got to put that in here. So say it's 25 to keep numbers round.
yeah.
You're at 50,000, another 25,000. Then you got closing costs.
And by the
No,
time I know, I'm buying the house exactly. Yes. I got nothing in the house.
exactly. What are you going to resell for? It's like it's tough. It's a tough game, but if you're financially educated and educated in the industry,
So
then
what would be a good deal for me? If it's the house again is $400,000 and I'm putting in $50,000, I should return with 600. Is that what you're saying? That's a better deal for me, or
let me
seven?
get. I'll tell you right now. I'll get my phone because the numbers I have to do on a calculator. But say it's a $600,000 house. Take 30% of that. The ARV, I mean, is 600,000 after
Mhm.
repair value,
Yeah.
right? And then you want to subtract your rehab. Say it's $50,000. Then subtract your fee, $10,000. 20 and say it's 10. You should purchase the maximum allowable offer. The MAO should be 360,000 off a $600,000 house. Now you're going to say, why would somebody take that? Why wouldn't they just? There's different situations and scenarios that people go through in their lives. That
Yeah, why would anybody, if the house is valued at 600,000, why are they going to sell it to me for 360?
good question. So these deals that the investors do, 99% of the time, are what they call cash deals, right? That's like getting a hard money loan, or some people actually have the physical cash in the bank to do it. But there's points on it. There's interest rates a lot higher than a regular loan, or they could take a mortgage out, 30-year mortgage or 20-year mortgage, whatever they want to do, however you purchase it. But that's one of the pitches that I use. My investor pays all cash. He can close within 14 days, 30 days max, right? So they like that, the homeowners. I said, whereas if you go with a real estate agent, they're going to, first of all, charge you a fee, right? I'm not charging you a fee.
Like
The whole thing,
3%, right? So 3% of six
well,
hundred thousand dollar home
it's like 5
would
to six
be
percent for homes. Yeah.
$18,000 just on the realtor fees.
Yeah. And then you have closing costs, so You really look for people in distressed situations, try to help them out. I'm really not in it for the money. Money's good, but I try to bring value. You know, when you bring value, you'll be around for a longer time than when you will with the money. You know, if you go for just for money, you'll be in business 2 years, and then maybe you'll get lucky and hit a stride and just keep going. But when you bring value to a customer, to an investor, to a homeowner, to your client, they really see that as professionalism. And when they build, the main key is building rapport, right?
Yeah.
You build rapport with them, you have a good relationship, joke around with them, maybe take them out to eat if you can, whatever the case may be. They're a client, right? So, and what they love is they don't have to pay me. My investor pays me. So, like, oh, you're working for free. Well, not really, but if you want to think that way, you know. But I sometimes tell my investor compensates me. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's
a
tricky
very,
game, you know. Cause it's all game.
very interesting for me because these things, is something that I don't think many people know. Even these things exist. I just begun to know about it maybe just a year or so ago, and I mean, when I was buying my house, not at all. I've never even heard of. I've heard of foreclosures.
Right,
I've heard of maybe short sale, but I've never heard of people. I've seen those signs that says "I'll buy your home cash," all that stuff, but I've never. I didn't know exactly what that meant. You know what I'm saying?
yep,
And that's what it would be, right? These are the people that actually are doing what you're doing.
right, yeah. When you see we buy houses or I buy houses, call this number.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 times, it's a wholesale. It's not even. Well, there's certain pitches you have to use when you speak to a homeowner, um, and just be dead honest. You know, like you can't lie. If you lie, you're not going to be in business for very long at all. Um, you know, if you're just dead honest and say, listen, my name is Laurence. I'm with New Jersey Wholesalers, right? I'm an investor slash wholesaler, and you know, if your house doesn't meet my buying criteria, I'd love to introduce you to one of my colleagues or fellow investors to see if they have an interest in it, right? Would you mind that? No, not at all. And by the way, you don't have to pay me anything for that. Don't worry about it. It's on me. You know?
I thought you have to be honest. Don't worry, I'll get the money someplace else. So let me ask you a question. If I'm driving around and I see a distressed house, or even if I know somebody calls me, hey, Lemuel, I can't continue affording my mortgage. Do you know anybody? If I call you and I'll be like, Laurence, I got this family that, they have to move to Kentucky because the mom is sick and they have no idea what to do with this house, and they can't really wait to sell it. They need the money right now. Um, is that something that you would? Is that like music to your ears?
Yeah. Uh, I mean, as long as I can provide value to them, like get it sold at the number they want it. I don't want them to hate me because I sold it for a price that they didn't want it to. I don't force anybody to sign the papers, right? They sign it because they think it's a good deal, and it is a good deal for everybody.
Yeah, dude. If somebody does do that, let's say somebody's watching this video and they're like, "Oh, I have a distressed home. Can I?" They're gonna call me, and I'm like, "Lawrence, I got somebody." Well, obviously, I'm starting to real estate investor. I don't know if you'll hear about it. I'll just probably tell you just because you're my friend. I'll be like, Lawrence, guess what, bro? Somebody called me, and you'd be like, Lemuel, you know what? I was your guest, bro. You gotta help me. At least you gotta
Absolutely.
cut me a steak, dude. You gotta at least give me some, give me some. But if let's say I'm just a regular dude and I find something and I give you a call, do you what? Do you compensate me? Are you like? Do you give people a referral fee or something like that?
Absolutely.
Tell me a little
Um,
bit about it, just in
yeah.
case
So just
somebody's
like
listening.
real estate agents, I give it's like joint venturing. They call it JVing. We compensate referrals, right? And there's really not. very much that the person has to do. If especially if it's a word of mouth, they can pick up $500 or $1,000 snap of a finger when the deal closes. Um, I have a couple entrepreneurs working for me right now on the side who send me leads, through the internet, through MLS, and I give them 10% of whatever I make. Now we have contracts in place, and some I don't even have contracts. It's just that I know them. We have great relationships, so they know that I'll pay them if a deal closes, and I'm 100% honest. So there's no reason not to be. If somebody, because I want that person to continue giving me leads, and I'll continue compensating them. It's a good marriage. It's a good relationship. So that's how it works. Yeah, we definitely do give referral fees.
So, what would be my next move with you? Because I'd like to, like I said, I'm very interested in the buy and hold business aspect. And what would you say for
Right.
me? What would be my next move if I'm saying, um, Laurence, I see your house. Is there a way for me to come and take a look at it? And or maybe even this, maybe not as an investor, but maybe somebody that's watching us would say, you know, I need a mentor, somebody that kind of um, bring me under his wing, or keep me abreast as to how things are happening. How would that happen, and how can they contact you?
How are they going to contact me?
Hmm.
They can call me. My cell phone's always on, right? And 24/7. I'll be sleeping. I'll pick up my cell phone to help anybody out, whether it's a family member or somebody who is in need. So it's never off. And if it's off, it's because my son killed the battery watching Mickey Mouse. But
Same
but
thing here.
yeah, other than that, it's always on. I talk to investors 9, 10 o'clock at night all the time. And homeowners, I give them a break call after 5, 6, 7 o'clock, really. But for multifamily, it's a little bit different in wholesaling. I'm just learning it myself for investing in multifamily. But I did get some stuff, some knowledge under my belt regarding algorithms and what your how to get cash flow, what your expenses are, your capex, and there's all different terminology.
But
And
this wholesaling, you don't need any money. All you need is just elbow grease.
real estate investing, you really don't need any money either. You just need
Really?
no, you need to get somebody who is you know you have to raise capital, right? So and say, listen, I got this really good deal, but I don't have any funds to put down. He'll put the money down if he sees the benefits, if he sees the upside of it. It's all about relationships. So if you can score a relationship with some very knowledgeable people and investors and other wholesalers, and study on YouTube is a great, what do you call it, channel to bring your education up. Just take notes, and there's certain people I can recommend, like I did earlier in the video, that can
Mhm.
really help out with that. Bigger Pockets is another.
I
uh,
love that. I love that group.
biggerpockets.com.
Yes.
They actually have a calculator where you can put in, you know, what do you call it, the address, and you can see how much you get on your ROI, which means return on investment, and your cap rate and everything, all for a buy and hold. It's awesome. But I think you only can use it for 5, 6 times, and then they start charging you. You have to become a member after a while. But there's different softwares you have to invest in. But when you start making money, you can invest in these software. When you get your first deal, that's when you start investing back into your company, right? You pay monthly $99 a month for this software, but it'll make $9,900 because you're paying $100. It's a big, great, really good return on your investment. But
How is speaking of investing? How is the market here in New York and New Jersey when it comes to real estate investing? Is it just for big ballers, or is for beginners like myself? Is there room for us? I know you're just beginning this journey yourself, really.
right.
But is there room for small players like myself?
Honestly, I think Jersey is saturated. So many wholesalers trying to do the same thing. You can't tell you how many times I called a certain lead. Oh, I got called 5 other times by different people trying to offer me
Wow.
a low price, right? Yeah, so it's really saturated in New Jersey. New York, there's a lot of people grinding, doing the thing in New York too. I don't think it's as saturated as New Jersey, but
Really?
yeah, I
Do
don't
you
really
think
know.
there's still deals out here to make?
I think there is, yeah, but I don't really know about the market that well as much as New Jersey because I live in New Jersey, also hence New Jersey wholesalers. But I do go out of my virtual wholesaling, they call it. I do go out of my realm sometimes, and I was thinking about doing that for my next venture. Virtual wholesaling is basically wholesaling in nationwide, right? In any state. Um, it's a little bit harder, a lot of paperwork involved, but if you know what you're doing, you have the right software, you can really get it done. The internet,
What
is
kind
very
of what kind of paperwork are you talking about? Do you
well.
need like paperwork? You just can't have an agreement with the homeowner. You can't just shake hands. Is there
You can have
actually they have to actually sign something?
no, you can have an agreement, right? But the agreements in certain states are all different. There's certain clauses that you have to have in certain agreements that you don't have to have in other states. Some states you do have to have them, and so you have to really look into that. But um, I suggest when you first start off to just start in your own neighborhood,
Mm.
driving for dollars, looking at vacant houses, going on the internet in like 10-mile radius of where you live, looking for sale by owners, things like that.
Well, sounds good, man. I think I think I'm getting a clearer picture of what's happening. I do want to have that look see on that property that you have,
Yeah,
just to kind of get myself in the swing of things. Hey, with the COVID situation, is that something that's possible now? Are you actually going into people's homes? Are you actually facing
yeah,
people? What's it like being an investor in the middle of this COVID situation?
crazy. I mean, I think it's all going to be over after the election. All of a sudden, oh, but it's ridiculous because sometimes I walk up to a person's house, I don't have a mask on, and I have to run back to my car. Can you get your mask? I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot. But yeah, it's a pain in the butt, but you got to take the proper precautions. You never know. Um, and it hasn't really, in the beginning, it was a little scary, but it hasn't really put a damper on things per se. People are still welcoming. I've had people who just shake my hand without masks on, and people who won't touch my hand with a mask. Yeah,
Well, man, I think after this interview, we'll converse, and hopefully, when you're in the area, you can let me know. Hey, Lemuel, I'm going to be in the area. I'm going to be looking at the house, or if you want, I don't know if you're open to something like that with me.
yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah, and you do you want to make your phone available? I'm gonna let everybody see where your website is, where they can reach you. But do you?
Yeah,
I know this is a live. I don't know if you want to make it available for people to reach you.
yeah, that's fine. You can put my cell phone on there. What do you call it? It's on the website too. It's 973 area code 908-5109.
Yeah, they can rewind. They can rewind the video if they want to hear it again. But bro, is there anything that you want to tell me as somebody that is trying to get in? Maybe some pointers, or some warning, or some inspiration. You know.
Absolutely. Never give up, right? Educate yourself as much as you can and stay positive. Um, Keep motivated. I mean, there's going to be a lot of discouraging things that happen, but it all turns out for the better. It's just, maybe God has something else planned for you rather than closes one door, opens another. So
That's
that's
right.
how I look at things.
Yeah, people don't know, right? where I have my video montage in the beginning. Are you a believer yourself? I don't want to have to press this issue because this is a business conversation, but
I am, yes.
awesome, fantastic. And you didn't know I'm a minister of the gospel. I'm a pastor. So it's
No,
good to see believers out there, man.
yeah, absolutely.
And it's good to be connected with people that believe, because then there's commonality, not only just entrepreneurship, but in the spirit. You could even pray for
Exactly.
a deal.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that many believers are really into this. I have a friend of mine who's actually my mentor. He's been flipping for several years and successful over there in the West Coast. And so that's actually who's kind of helping, guiding me, shaping me. I told him about us and this interview, so he's very excited. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have him here soon to pick his brain.
Yeah.
But man, I thank you so much. I appreciate this time, and Laurence, I surely hope that you and I can work out a deal one day.
Absolutely. It sounds good. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for bringing me on for the kind gesture. It's fate that we met, I think. So I really appreciate your time and effort and helping me out with this. And like I said, I'm here to help anybody any type of way I can. So
Well, thank you again, brother, and Uh, for those of us that are watching, again, try to reach Laurence. If you do know any distress homes or any families that maybe are having a hard time and they'd rather give up their home than to continue with the hard time, or maybe there's some changes that's happening in their family and they're doing that. And if you can't reach him, you could always reach me.
like
Because
that.
he's my guest, I got a big props to Laurence, and he's gonna be since he's 3 years or more advanced than me. He's gonna give me some tidbits. I'm sure of it, and looking forward to connecting with you, man. And outside of this, and just appreciate your time with us tonight.
Thank you very much. God bless.
God bless you. Well, folks, thank you all for joining me tonight. That is hopefully my new friend Laurence, who is the CEO of New Jersey Wholesalers. You can reach him again at newjerseywholesalers.com, right?
Yes.
And you can connect with him, whether mentoring or whether it's just conversation that you want to have. Again, he and I met. This is the first time we're having a conversation, so this is fantastic. You guys are seeing some first steps, first times. You're gonna remember this time when Laurence and I spoke, and then when Laurence and I take a picture of our first property together. How you like
Look,
that, bro?
that sounds good. Real good.
That'd be great, right? We could point to this video and we're like, remember that? You're so crazy, dude, jumping into into a live broadcast with somebody you don't know.
Absolutely.
And so, God works things out. He's mysterious in his ways. So I'm thankful again for you, bro. And folks, thank you again. Join us next Monday night. I will be unpacking. Watch this. I will be unpacking domestic violence. We're going deep a little bit next week on unpacking episode. I'm gonna have a pastor with me, and that will speak about the male perspective of domestic violence. And I'm gonna have my friend Vicky Del Toro come back again to help me host that show. So next week, join me 21st. You will be seeing a flyer. She already has it ready. Vicky has been ready on this thing for a month already, and we're pumped and excited about it because many people think that domestic abuse is that's happening only to women and maybe even children, but there are domestic abuses that is happening to men, and we're gonna have an acquaintance. I know him in Facebook, much like Laurence. I've yet met him face to face. I'm actually gonna meet him face to face on Monday. I like talking to people for the very first time on camera because then it's raw. I could talk to them exactly, and I don't have to try to repeat myself trying to figure out what I said in the conversation we had a few days ago. So it's going to be raw. It's just going to be real, and it's going to be right there live next week, 8:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join me. Until next time, God bless you and be productive in this 2020. Come on, y'all.